A major milestone has been reached for one province. Newfoundland and Labrador marked 15 days without a single new reported case today. The province has been easing some restrictions and the rest of Canada is beginning to follow suit. But does Canada have the testing and contact tracing capacity to reopen safely? To chat about all this, Newfoundland and Labrador Premier Dwight joins us from St. John's. Hello, Premier. Thank you for coming on the show. It's always nice to have you. Now that the reopening is happening gradually, contact tracing is the talk of the town. So what is contact tracing to you, and how do you see this working? And is this a life-saving tool?
I think it's a part of the identification of where the virus would have spread throughout our province. As an example here is you must be able to respond quickly if indeed you find a positive case, Joyce, so that you can actually go after see where those people potentially been in contact with those that have been tested positive with the COVID virus. So contact tracing is a very important tool. Is it a life-saving tool? For many, it would be, because what it would do is it lead further, other people that could have been, it avoids some more exposure for others. So contact tracing is an important tool. How you do that, most provinces are doing this manually right now with a large group of people that through a phone bank and so on. But some of the things that we're exploring here in Newfoundland and Labrador and across the country is what an app would look like using technology for contact tracing.
So if that and when that app exists, if it already does, I don't know, I'm really technologically challenged. Would you download it on your phone?
I certainly would, and I would encourage others to do so. There will always be a great debate, and I think into the future, contact tracing and the use of technology, I think will be one that many research will take a look at, because this is in some cases where public health will collide with privacy and with our economy and so on. But for me, as an individual, I think that if I was exposed to the COVID virus, I would want to know about it. But unless the person that tested positive had that on their smartphone, I had it on my smartphone, there would be no way to contact me as someone who could potentially be impacted by the virus.
So what you're saying is that your privacy would be, protected. This is metadata, so any sort of personal information, your name or anything that could identify you would be withdrawn from that information. But do we need to have the same system across the country for it to be really effective?
Ideally, that would be the best benefit that we would see from that. But I think many people will argue the fact that not having a centralized contact tracing app is better than a decentralized one is better than not having one at all. So, but it is one tool, it's voluntary, and unless you get a significant percentage of the population that would have that app available on their phones, it would be of limited use. We would need to, it would be part of an overall suite of things that would be used to contact people and prevent others from being impacted by the virus.
So I'm thinking, so if it's not mandatory, and I'm going to compare that to masks. Okay, masks aren't mandatory, so now we have this hodgepodge all across the country. Some people wearing masks in the bus, some people not wearing masks. The sort of the memo hasn't really gone out. So this will be the same thing. You can opt out or not download this app. Am I right? It is a choice.
You're absolutely right. And just like wearing a mask, people, what we encourage people to do, if you cannot practice safe physical distancing, then wear a mask. If you're coughing or sneezing or so on, wearing a mask would actually prevent, the spread of the virus indeed if you were tested positive. The app, for contact tracing is similar to that. It would be voluntary by nature, but really what it is to protect you as an individual, but also to protect, those that you are in contact with. So it's one application, it's one tool that would be in the toolbox that will be used by healthcare professionals. Testing is another opportunity that we have as a country as well, and as a province. All of this will be a source of great debate for many months, weeks, and months ahead of us.
I know you haven't had cases in 2 weeks, and fingers crossed for Newfoundland and Labrador, but we know that this contact tracing is not up and running. We also know that we're not testing anywhere close to the amount of, we're not doing anywhere close to the amounts of testing that we need to do. People are going out there without a mask for the most part. So Do you fear, now that things are going so well, a second wave in your province? Do you think it's inevitable?
I think that if you listen to most researchers and the pattern of viruses in the past and throughout our history, that most people are predicting that there will be a second wave. So our focus right now, we've learned a lot of lessons from the first cases that we had in Newfoundland and Labrador. We acted very swiftly. We put in place some very firm measures that actually slowed the spread down within our province. We contacted people swiftly, so we were able to contact a number of people that we had available that we felt that could have been potentially impacted. As we now prepare and learn lessons from that first wave that we had in Newfoundland and Labrador, there's a number of things now that we have to put in place. We had good legislation in place from a state of emergency on public health. Now PPE becomes a big focus for us, making sure we do a real good analysis of our acute care system, just in case we get a flare-up or a setback. We have the appropriate amount of PPE available to us. We have a healthcare system that can respond, and we must make sure that we have great border controls. We have good, solid border controls, because we know that in Newfoundland and Labrador, like many other provinces, that this is a virus that will be imported, primarily by someone traveling into Newfoundland and Labrador.
Dwight, Newfoundland Premier in Labrador, thank you so much. Have a great weekend, sir.
It's great to be here again.